Hey guys, this is Vinay and you're watching my show, Let's Talk. Today I have a young person on my guest for Let's Talk. He is one of those young people who took the roads less traveled. He was working in a corporate life. He left all of that. He started his own company and he started this something wonderful called Environmentalist Foundation of India. He is Arun Krishnamurthy. Pleasure to have you on the show, Arun. Hi. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
Pleasure. You were working for Google.
Yes.
And people envy. Google is one of those corporates where people love to work, and you left that and you decided to do something that most of us would think, some of us would actually make the effort of planning and very few will take the route. What was the inspiration for you to do that?
Primarily, a lot of people do quit at Google too. It's not that I'm the only one who's done it, but then Google was one main reason as to why I was able to identify what I really wanted to do. When you're working for Google, the one thing is like you're always asked to think out of the box, and yes, and despite my job responsibilities, I could still follow my passion, which was environment conservation. So that's when I took a call, say around 2010, when I wanted to do environment work.
You worked in
3.5 yes. So people contacted Google still there, only my job responsibilities have come to an end. So
and they awarded you?
Yes, so they were kind enough to support me even after I had quit. They had given me the Google Social Impact Award a year after I had quit. So the whole thing about environment conservation is that, I strongly believe in one thing, that it's not a convenience nor is it compulsion, it's common sense. So we should not celebrate anybody who's doing environment work, because this is something which we all need to do, and when somebody is doing it, let's not put them on a pedestal and celebrate them. Rather, let's just join whoever is doing that and get more work done. That's it.
And your company, Environmentalist Foundation of India, so when you I'd read this somewhere that you were actually looking outside your window when you were a young boy, seeing kingfisher catching a fish, and eventually the pond dried up, and that kind of made you think, if lakes dry up, what will happen to the wildlife and stuff like that. So that was that like very young age it got into your head?
See, Environmentalist Foundation of India is not a company, rather it's a voluntary group, yes, where we all volunteer, and our larger aim is wildlife conservation, habitat restoration, real-time result-oriented environment conservation work. We don't believe in desktop conservation. And we do not want to do this for the sake of those degrees and those awards. So we're trying to break all barriers, and we're trying to get as many people as possible in real-time work socially. How did this passion kick in? I grew up in suburban Chennai. When we first moved into this neighborhood, it was a beautiful, pristine environment. Yes, you have my house was strategically located between a pond and a lake. Yes, so I had one of the best views in the world. But then as urbanization, as Chennai was growing, and we didn't have a regularized growth which took its toll on the larger environment there. The frogs, the snakes, the birds, they all started vanishing. And what once used to be a beautiful water body became a dump yard. So things like that need to be changed, and that's where my larger responsibility, I didn't want to stay mum for whatever was happening around me. And that's when I realized, when I was ready to do something, there were equal number of people who were willing to support. So it was not a one-man story. It was a lot of us who cared about environment got together. I'm extremely spiritual, not so much so religious. I believe that environment conservation, the journey in environment, it's a spiritual journey. Yes, we're destined to do this. Yes, and there are a lot of people who are strengthening the effort. I'm sitting here representing all of them. It's not Arun Krishnamurthy, it's EFI, the larger story. So when that is the case, you realize that so many more things are possible, and we just need to put down our human ego, organizational egos, and work towards a common cause.
And you have almost 17 lakes across India. Now you've restored and you've worked on it. So how do you select projects? I'm in this area, as you mentioned, it's the need for everyone to do something, and there is need across India. So how do you pick and choose projects?
There's need across the world.
Across the world, yeah.
Yes. The thing about environment conservation work is, you hold a placard, you walk on the roads saying that I want to ban polythene and stop climate change. That's your bit to environment, is what a lot of us think. and we'll run a marathon which is against polythene. End of that marathon, you see the road would be full of PET bottles. That kind of hypocrisy is what needs to stop first. We need to practice what we're preaching, and that's exactly what we're trying to do. And the next thing about environment conservation is anybody and everybody could walk up and claim anything and everything with nobody to check as to what's been really done. Yes, I could randomly go into a forest, click a couple of photographs of me picking a polythene and say I cleaned up the entire forest, and nobody is going to even question you. What are we talking about? How much? See, 4 months ago, this very city where we are sitting right now, people whom you would meet today, who driving in fancy cars, or anybody who's walking down the road, didn't have food to eat, didn't have water to drink. We were under 6 to 15 feet water across the city. And nobody, you walk across the city today, you ask people as to why the floods happened, 95% of the city would blame the government. Probably 5% of the city has the understanding that it's a common failure as society, as government, as everybody.
Everyone has played an equal part.
Everybody has played an equal part in destroying a beautiful heaven on earth, which is Chennai. With 3 rivers, 300 plus lakes, beautiful marshland and an open ocean, the city deserves a lot more attention from us ecologically.
You spoke about Chennai floods, right? So according to you, I mean, it's not like one day, one incident that actually triggered that. It's the global warming and climate change and all of that. So now that it has happened, it's behind us. It's not that it's not going to happen again. So each of us need to do something about it and take care of this. According to you, what is it that we need to do to make sure that Chennai doesn't go through that again?
It's definitely going to happen again. I'll tell you why. Because you and I fall sick, one pill is not going to cure the whatever is the thing, right? So you need to have a course of medication. That course of medication, unfortunately, has not even started for Chennai yet. No, a lot of people are thinking, but then again, you're clueless as to where do you go, what do you do. So that's where organizations like ours, people like you and I should play a bigger role in getting the society together and putting aside organizational individual egos and work towards the common good, which I am talking about. The larger thing here is, to answer your previous question and this combined, we need real-time result-oriented groundwork. We need to move away from the papers, and we need to come together at an aligned thought which is about our future. So to every individual who's watching this video, let them get in touch with us and let's do some work together.
When you say let's articulate and put like top 3 points to say what can they do, is it like as simple as reducing usage of plastic? What are the
See, reducing usage of plastic is one thing that's done to death. Yes, nobody wants to do it. Everybody knows polythene is bad, but then nobody is actually implementing, executing it. That's where we need to get to, right? So definitely yes. See, culturally, whichever be the culture, yes, whatever be the culture, there were certain cultural traditions that were followed because people knew that this is what works best and this doesn't. So our earthen cookware to our earthen utensils did work. We need to get back to that. And our cloth bags and our reuse bottles, glass bottles to a certain extent definitely did work. Our containers need to be ever silver. Yes, please, let's get back to all of those. And when we are flushing down the drain, when we are letting out an exhaust which is liquid waste from our washing machines and more, let's be careful as to how much more chemical are we adding back to this ground earth. So all that needs to be taken care of. Anybody who's watching this video who might get bored, okay, it's again an environment talk where they're talking about polythene and chemicals, they need to ask themselves this one question. Is there anybody in their family who's been recently diagnosed with cancer? Is there anybody in their family who's having hair loss? Is there anybody in that family who's been told that they've become infertile over a period of time? Is there anybody in that family who's been told that they are hitting obesity index? And all this is happening because of environmental damage. Yes, so environmental conservation is not just about the tiger, it's not just about the lion, it's not just about the forest, it's about you and I. If you and I need to continue to walk on the face of this planet, we need to conserve what is left. That's exactly where I wish to reiterate that it's common sense and we need to get to that. So people need to do this. How much water am I consuming?
Water is
and how am I polluting my water resources? Second thing, how much of my land usage is having a negative impact on Mother Earth? What is the amount of trash that I'm generating? And the third most important thing is it only about me? I share this planet with every other life form. I need to start thinking about other lives. It's not a debate between vegetarianism, non-vegetarianism. It's not a debate where you need to wear leather, continue to wear leather, or it's not a debate where you and I need to bombard that forest with 1,000 cameras and then click photographs because you and I could be celebrated on Facebook for that one tiger photograph. No, I think we need to stop doing all these things. Education should not just be for earning, education should be for learning. I really hope we learn things in life and then we practice them.
And we brought up the point about cancer, and this season we are promoting awareness on cancer. So it is very alarming, as you also said, that people being diagnosed with cancer is increasing, and it's alarming to know that more than 30% of India will be diagnosed with cancer in coming years. And it is all because of, as you said, lifestyle. It's about our food, the air we breathe, and the way we are living ourselves. So what would you want to say for people watching this in terms of spreading awareness on cancer, as simple as getting tests done regularly, and then the back end to that of all that you said, that we have to first ensure that we're leading a healthy lifestyle?
A lot of us, in fact, are worried that it could be us next.
Yeah.
Yes,
It can happen to anyone.
It can happen to anyone. But then, that also is a tide that just moves on. Yes, yeah, it could happen to me someday. So what big deal now? When it happens, I'm not even ready to accept that, hey, my lifestyle is the reason as to why I'm here. I'm like, why did God do this to me?
Yeah.
So that's again the problem, right? See, before you're hit by something, you're not worried. When you're hit by something, you cut a sorry figure and you want to be, yes, you go into self-sympathy mode. That's where the larger problem is.
Yeah.
I think the problem does not exist in the world around, it exists in our head. We just need to tune that. We have the C disease. The C disease in my case is not cancer, it's identity crisis. Yes, we don't know who we are. We don't want to be who we are. We want to be somebody else. And I think we need to get back to being us. When we are our own selves, I think all this would stop. I really hope a lot of people do not get diagnosed with cancer, and cancer becomes one of those things which gets eradicated.
Just a star sign.
Yes, it's just a star sign. But practically speaking, that's not going to happen. And the only thing that I would hope for is that we all wake up early and then start working towards conserving what is left, change our lifestyle, and just hope for the best. That's it.
Absolutely. Wonderful to understand what you do in EFI, your motive, and I think as you said, people watching this, if everyone can actually take that hours and spend time and do something about the environment, the next time you and I meet in a couple of years,
yes,
I hope we are going to be in a better environment.
100%.
Last segment on the show, quick questions and
yes,
one-liner answers. One advice from someone that's completely changed your life.
Get out and do something, don't just sit and talk about it.
Who said that?
Dr. Jane Goodall.
One incident that completely changed your life.
There was this tiny frog that I first caught when I was in the 4th grade, and then the devil in me took a big stone rock and then smashed the frog.
Oh.
And I regret doing that all my life, and I with no shame I confess to this wherever on public platforms, because that changed my life, and I killed the devil within me, and I changed to live for environment ever since that day.
One project that you have taken where you had to face a lot of hardships.
Still facing a lot of hardships. There are these 2 lakes in Chennai, the Keelkattalai and the Madambakam lakes, and whatever it takes, I'm not going to leave this planet Earth until I restore these 2 lakes. There is unimaginable amounts of pressure and complexities surrounding these 2 lakes, but one thing is, those 2 lakes have been with me all these years. Yes, in the sense, when I go to those lakes, they communicate. I don't know how. Those lakes give me that confidence that yes, we're going to be able to restore those 2 lakes. And there is this one pied kingfisher bird at the Keelkattalai lake, and similar set of birds at Madambakam lake. Whenever I go, they're there, and they tell me, yes, we are getting this lake restored.
One person that you look up to who's like made a huge impact on your life?
A lot of people, starting with my family, father. I had a childhood friend who's still like really a supportive one, and there are a lot of volunteers at EFI. So you go to schools, you go to colleges, you do this orientation program, you recruit volunteers. When they come back to volunteer, you are made to work by them. They question you. You spoke so much about the tiger and the leopard, but why is it we are not doing anything about that? You said lake cleanups. Why is it we are not doing a lake cleanup this weekend? And you actually get to work. The young volunteers are the ones whom I look up to, and they're the ones who are keeping the organization running.
And one thing that gives you a high?
Volunteering with EFI.
That's like the best medicine for you.
But it's not the medicine. That's what keeps me alive.
When was it that you actually thought about doing something like an EFI at larger scale, having more people coming instead of just you?
Right from 4th grade, immediately after the frog incident, because 3 days after that, it's a hard day again. You see a bullock cart where this really thin bull, like, dragging along that cart with like a lot of load on it. I went back home and I kept crying, and I told my mother, see, listen, I really feel horrible. I killed the frog, and today that bull is almost dead. Then my mother said, you're not being able to do it by your own self. You need to get people. And when I asked her, who's going to come with me? She said, I'll come with you. So she was my first volunteer. Then my friend Karthik was there. A lot of people supported and strengthened the effort. But then that's when I understood that it's not about I, it has to be a we.
Yeah.
And wherever I go, I represent the organization, and it's not Arun Krishnamurthy. So that thought has always been there, and that thought is what's kept us modest, grounded, and is taking us forward.
And you can't shy away from in India movies and cricket.
Yes.
And the reach that they have, the stars that they have is wide. So anybody from the movie industry who's come forward and supported you?
There are a lot of people from the movie industry, from the sporting industry who have come. But I don't wish to segregate them. You're from insurance, you're from movies. To me, all of them are the same. I'll tell you why. The biggest stars to me in my life are the young volunteers who've taken time to come clean those lakes, which none of the big politicians or the movie stars or anybody whom we celebrate so much has done. And to me, celebrities are these people who are working on the field. Yes. So,
like any of us, we have jobs and they have jobs.
Yes, that's exactly my point. But then my only thing is, let's not idol worship anybody. Let's all be on a level playing field. And in my world, if you're an environment conserving individual, you're my celebrity.
And what's coming up in 2016 for EFI?
2016 and for the rest of the years that we have, we're going to continue working on the 39 lakes across India where we've been volunteering right from. There is a wonderful gentleman in Srinagar who's invested a lot of trust and faith in us that we're going to work on the Dal Lake. Definitely yes. There is a tiny pond in Kanyakumari. So between Srinagar and Kanyakumari, at Chennai, Hyderabad, Coimbatore, Vijayawada, Vizag, Vadodara, Thane, Delhi, a lot of lakes, Trivandrum, there are a lot of lakes that we've taken up. We're going to work on all these water bodies, and we're going to work towards one thing, that we share this planet with all life forms. It's not just about you and I, and we're going to make sure that these water bodies become critical habitats where all life forms can thrive. And we're going to do this without much fanfare. We're going to do this with utmost scientific standards. We're going to do this with utmost sincerity, and anybody and everybody who's ready to invest sincerity, time, manpower, movement power is more than welcome to join us in this effort.
More power to you.
Yes.
I hope, I would wish that EFI, not just the brand as such, but you get more and more people who have the same wavelength like yours.
Yes.
Come and join hands. And through the show, I hope you get a lot more volunteers and we have better environment to live in. Thank you so much for taking time and coming. Your thoughts on being on Let's Talk.
Thank you for giving me this platform, because platforms like this help us reach out to a lot more people whom we are unable to do so in personal life. Yes. And chats like this is what reiterates as to how much more we believe in the thought personally. And it is a reboost. Yes. So when I walk out of this interview, I'm going to be thinking about, I've spoken so much that I need to do a lot more.
Yeah.
So that's how work keeps increasing at EFI.
I'm very motivated, and again, I'm somebody who loves nature. As you said, again, I would try my level best in doing whatever I can to give back to the nature that we live in.
Probably every guest you're talking to
Yeah.
and every video that you make, you could add a tag where people are encouraged to volunteer, and I'm sure you do it.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thanks
Pleasure
for the
having.
opportunity.
Before we let
Yes.
you go, a small token of appreciation, a goodie bag from our gifting partners,
Yes.
P and Rao.
Thank
There's
you.
plastic in this.
I know.
Tell them that they should stop using
We'll
that.
remove it. And what I would do is, this is the one thing that I cherish the most in my life. So this is a small thank you,
Oh, lovely.
and that's all that I have to give back to you. It's EFI.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hi, this is Arun Krishnamurthy from the Environmentalist Foundation of India, EFI, and I just finished a session at Let's Talk with Vinay. Do subscribe to this channel because there are a lot more people, a lot more interesting, inspiring stories. Hope you enjoy it. Not just about the tiger, it's not just about the lion, it's not just about the forest, it's about you and I. If you and I need to continue to walk on the face of this planet, we need to conserve what is left. That's exactly where I wish to reiterate that it's common sense